Hello everyone. Today I will once more be returning to the Huang He, the Pan-Asian Tier 6 cruiser, which, well, last time I played this ship I told you should stay away from it because it's garbage. Well, this time we have once again, well, not surprisingly, Tier 8 matchmaking, because that's what you have to expect these days when you play Tier 6. You're gonna end up against a bunch of Tier 8 ships, and, well, carriers exist as well. In the past, this Huang He actually had, the one strength it had among all its weaknesses was really strong anti-air. That was the one thing that kind of, it could compete with the likes of Atlanta and Cleveland in terms of AA. It was very strong. So Wargaming removed defensive AA from it. So you can no longer slot defensive AA. Which means, of course, that the one strength it had in form of AA is now gone. Without defensive AA to greatly buffer these values, it's nowhere near as strong as any cruiser pretty much that can slot defensive AA. So that's one strength completely out the window. The speed is 33 knots, which is half a knot faster than the Perth. I mean, that's decent for a cruiser, but it's not anything special. The Duke Aosta, for example, does 36.5, which is 10% faster, so yeah, not anything special, but it's not bad either. The turning circle is 570 meters, which is actually pretty nice, and the rudder shift is 5.3 seconds, which is also pretty nice. Those are both pretty good cruiser values. Now we get to the bigger problems, though. The health pool is 24.1k. That is pitifully small. I'm pretty sure it's the lowest HP pool for any tier 6 cruiser in the game. Like, even the Leander has 28.7, and that ship also has a smoke, and that ship has a heal as well. The Perth, which plays similarly, even has a 27.1k health pool. The armor is extremely sad. 60mm bow, everything will overmatch it. The Citadel only has a 70mm belt. So, of course, anyone, especially battleships at higher tier shoot at you, even if you're undetected in a smoke, you're gonna get blocked. I'm testing to see if I can move at half speed in this smoke. Nope, doesn't work. You have to move at a quarter speed. So it's exactly the same way the Perth smoke works. You have to move around in a quarter speed. That is the maximum speed you can move around with. So the Perth style smoke is, of course, special in the sense that each puff only lasts 10 seconds, but as you can see, the bloom time lasts a massive 90 seconds. Now, this is actually not a good smoke. I mean, yes, it allows you to move, but you can only move at a quarter speed, which means that it's a very questionable value. And the biggest problem is that the cooldown of the smoke only starts when the bloom time ends, which means we are once this 28-second bloom time here, when it finishes blooming, only then will it go on cooldown. So unlike all the other DDs that can sit in their smoke and enjoy their smoke as they wait for the cooldown, my smoke will run out 10 seconds after the bloom time ends, and then I'm basically stuck without a smoke and waiting for it to reload. Very much the same way the Perth works. And now, the Perth can slot a module that increases the bloom time by 30 seconds. In fact, many ships that slot smoke can do this. This ship cannot do it. I don't know if it's intentional. I asked Wargaming, they haven't gotten back to me yet. But as of now, the Perth has a superior smoke as well. So that's obviously a problem. And once the smoke ends, as you can see, now we got a 2-minute 20-second cooldown without any smoke. Now the Perth in this situation has a spotter plane. Even though the Perth has only 12.8 km range and this is 13.2, 13.2 is of course nowhere near enough to actually do something and survive. So the Perth can pop a spotter plane at this time, play further back, play safer and harass, whereas you don't have access to this. You can even slot the spotter plane module on the Perth, which I recommend, in which case you get a 234-second spotter plane, which is almost 4 minutes of increased range. Also, you can of course use that spotter plane to spot around you, but I'll get back to that later. So, you lack the range. Of course, when we talk about gunpowder, we gotta mention the fact you only have 6 guns. 3 turrets with 2 guns each, 6 guns. That's it. Even the Perth has 8 guns. The Perth has a half a second longer reload, but I doubt I have to explain the math to you that trading half a second a reload for a third more guns, literally 33% more guns, is a pretty damn favorable trade in favor of the Perth. So, the Perth is superior at this type of ship. Like, the Perth was the first one, and the Huang He is like this cheap knockoff copy that is nowhere near as good as at all of the things as the Perth is. And I gotta emphasize here that the Perth isn't even a particularly good cruiser. Okay? the Perth is not a good cruiser. I don't consider it, it's a gimmicky, it can be fun at times, but it's certainly not a strong cruiser. No. And even though it's not a strong cruiser, the Huang He is completely outclassed by it. I mean, moving on, let's mention the torps. You see me launch a couple of them. You have 3 torps per side, 2x3. They are 8 kilometers of range. They have 60 knots of speed, and they deal 14.4k damage. In comparison, the Perth has 2x4, meaning 1 additional torp per side, 8 km knots, 61 knots of speed, but they also do 1k more damage. They do 15.4k instead of the 14.4 these do. So, once again, Perth comes on top with an additional torp on both sides. And, I mean, the only thing it beats the Perth then is concealment. You have 8.1 concealment versus Perth's 8.6. But ultimately, that's such a meaningless advantage because you don't cross any thresholds with that spotting advantage. DDs will still outspot you, and the cruisers that you outspotted earlier, you will still outspot them. So the actual meaningful impact you have there is pretty damn non-existent. I mean, yes, better stealth is always an advantage, but it's not really that special. Another thing worth mentioning is that your smoke firing detectability is 4.2 km. So if you're moving along in your little puff, the magic dragon smoke around the map, you will get spotted from 4.2 km. Now your Hydra only has a 3.96 km range. That means if you're shooting and if you push into a cap and you shoot and there's a DD 4 km away, he will spot you for the entire team to kill, but you can't see him because he's outside of the Hydra range. Now the Perth in the same situation can of course pop his spotter plane, and the spotter plane will give him information of everything around him, and that's why you can actually bully caps with the Perth, because if you push in, your spotter plane will spot the DDs and force them to back off, unless of course there's someone providing AA and so forth. So the Perth just wins this comparison so easily, and it's really sad. It's really sad to see how hard the Perth is winning, because the Perth is not a good ship. The Perth is not a particularly good ship. I mean, if let's compare it to the Nuremberg. That's a cruiser no one really considers that special. It's been buffed a lot, so it's a pretty decent cruiser, but no one is going to come and say, oh my god, the Nuremberg is so overpowered. The Nuremberg has 50% more guns, 9 guns versus 6. It also has a 1 second better reload. It has a 6 second reload versus the 7 second reload of the Huang He. And it has much better range at, what, 16 point something range. It has a 3.3 km better range. It has built-in IFHE. It has more health. It has better torps. It has, like, I think 2 launchers on both sides, so it has almost double the amount of torps, I think. It even has better armor, because even though the Citadel armor is very similar, it has layered armor, whereas the Huang He does not. So that's when you compare it to not even the best cruisers in the game. The Huang He gets so terribly outclassed, it's not even funny. So this ship is not really a master of anything, but it's also not really a jack of anything. So the saying, jack of all trade, master of none. No, this thing isn't even a jack of any trade. I mean, I cannot think of any ship that would be particularly afraid of the Huang He. I mean, even you saw the carrier hovered planes around me, but because I don't have defensive AA anymore, I shot down a total of 6 planes. That was it. I mean, sure, they were tier 7 planes, but yeah, that was it. If a tier 7 or 8 carrier wants to drop you, they can do it very easily, because you no longer have access to defensive AA either, so that's another ship that you're vulnerable to. Note, I was nose in, and the Fiji just blacked me with AP, and that's of course the squishiness and the pitifulness of the armor. So this ship is very sad. I do take down the North Carolina, and at this point there's not much point watching this game play out. We do end up winning it, and I do 108k damage, which is, I consider, very surprising considering I'm up against tier 8s. Mostly because I managed to play around the torps and land enough torps to actually do some damage, because the guns cannot be relied on to do any damage at all. If we look at the team score, 2k base XP, honestly, I'll take it. I will happily take it in this ship. This ship is rough to play. Straight up, just a rough experience. If we look at the detailed report, you know just how much work the torps did for me. The torps landing did almost 32k plus another 26k flooding, so more than half our damage came from those torpedoes. Our actual gun damage is 34k plus a bit of fire damage. This ship is sad. It's so sad. It's not even fun to play, because if I want to play this type of play style, if I want to play this moving smoke style type of ship, I would play the Perth. The Perth has better torps, the Perth has more firepower, the Perth has spotting plane, the Perth is superior in every single way. The Perth even has more health pool. Like, what? Like, did they look at this Perth health pool and see 27k health and go like, yeah, that's a bit too tanky for our poor battleships. Let's make this new one's health pool 24.1k. Like, holy crap, it is so pitifully low. It is so sad, and they pretty much ignored all my suggestions. Everything I wanted has been ignored. I wanted faster reload on the main guns. I wanted them to cut the reload to something like 4 seconds, so at least you would be a gun threat. But no, instead they gave it this puffing smoke, and I don't know what they expected. But this ship is very sad. Anyway, let me show you my recommended build for this thing. If you buy it, if you're dumb enough. I mean, let me show you my recommended build. Right, as usual, I will start with the build. Consumable wise, there's not much to talk about. You want to get the premium smoke, because otherwise you're going to be waiting 4 minutes, well, almost 4 minutes between every single smoke activation, which is of course completely absurd. Running premium smoke, you at least cut it down to only 2.5 minutes, which is still insane. Premium damage control, you can slot the torpedo reload, but it's completely useless. I've tried it. It's incredibly hard to make it work, considering you can't stealth torp and you only have 3 torps per side. It feels like more of a gimmicky kind of thing. Hydro is infinitely more useful. Upgrade wise, main turret survival, AA range, because well, your AA is still pretty decent. Here you would love to slot this module. Sorry, this module here, you would love to slot instead of the AA range. Smoke generator, of course, if you had spotter plane, you'd love to slot this one as well, but that's the Perth, which is superior to this one, so the only options you have are the very stock tankiness and rudder shift. Captain perks wise, I'm, well, pretty much basic cruiser build in this sense. Priority target, AR, demolition expert, concealment expert, IFHE, and advanced firing training. I'd probably get IFHE before any of the others, but you have so little gunpowder, it doesn't really matter. And finally, of course, module survival. On the Perth though, of course, since you can slot spotter plane, it's very nice to go double spotter planes, especially when you push caps. Or on this guy I also have increased smoke size. Smoke size is a bit of debatable use, because you still can't push at half speed. You can only go a quarter speed regardless if you have this perk or not. But I like it a bit more on the Perth, mostly because I tend to play it with teammates, and that slightly larger smoke makes it easier for them to keep track and stay in your smoke. But if you play solo, then you can give it up and instead get. But that, whatever, that's Perth, whatever. Huang He build is this one. It says a lot about the ship, and I'm more interested in talking about the Perth than I'm interested in talking about this one, because ultimately this gunpowder is a joke. There's no real other way to explain it. 6 shells, 7-second reload, like seriously? That's it? Where's the rest of the damage? There is none. That is everything you have. Like the Budionni, it might have an 8-second reload, which is 1 second longer, but in return it has 50% more guns, 16.6 km range. It's like, what the hell? Are you serious? Nuremberg has a 6-second reload, which is a faster reload, but it still has 50% more guns. The Huang He doesn't even compete with the cruisers in firepower. If I had to compare someone it competes with in firepower, I would say it maybe competes with the Farragut. The Farragut is probably the closest thing to competing with firepower. 5 guns, 4-second reload. Wait, 4-second reload. The Farragut has better DPM, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Farragut has much better DPM than the Huang He. It has 1 gun less, but it has 3-second faster reload. It has 400 less alpha on the HE. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Farragut actually has better DPM than our Huang He. That's probably why I would in a Farragut not feel afraid of the Huang He at all. I could probably just go 1 versus 1 him in a straight up gunfight and come out victorious. So yeah, this ship is pitifully weak. They haven't implemented any of the things I wanted them to implement. For example, the reload. If they're gonna go with this extremely awkward turret setup with the back turret barely being able to fire, like you have to fire like this because you have to fire. The angles are awful because it gets blocked by the superstructure. So most of the time you're only using 2 of the turrets if you want to angle, and the gun power is just so sad. It's so sad. When you get outgunned by DDs in a goddamn cruiser, you know it's pitiful. So as of now, I will not, absolutely not. Jesus Christ, no, I will not recommend this ship. It's still a complete disaster. I mean, if they intend to sell it, they need to really overhaul it. If they want to make some gimmicky collector ship, sure, that's fine. But this is not a ship I will ever... Well, as of now, I cannot possibly recommend anyone pay for this ship in any sort of way, because Jesus Christ, it is awful. Anyway, that was all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it.